By the way, it's that.
So, what? Come again for Big Fudge?
I would, but
I'm quite sleepy.
I just got here. You got to give me a minute.
We should probably hit that button.
That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Recording live from the E. Haley Memorial Studios, straight out of Almont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your one and only weekly Warmahordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now.
Old man.
Welcome, everybody, to This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes. My name is Semi-Auto Magic, and today we're bringing you a little something different, like we always do. We're here hiding in the lower bowels of a building in Almont.
The Fungin.
The Fungin, yes. What the fuck is a Fungin? And somewhere out there is our third person.
Right.
So, joining us remotely is the Miffed Gorax. Say hello, Miffed Gorax, and tell us where you are.
I want to apologize to everybody directly now for the shit show that this show is about to be. I'm just about to finish my first bottle of Jacob's Creek Moscato d'Asti, and I've eaten an entire bucket of chicken. I am in Campbell River because that's the way my job works sometimes. And I, for some crazy reason, decided to leave PG Semi-Auto Magic in charge. The only reason why Maelstrom's not in charge is because right now he doesn't have the balls to do it.
Ouch.
Well, on my right is the aforementioned ballless Maelstrom. Tell everybody why you got no balls.
I went for a vasectomy this morning. Literally, I went and, well, I still have my balls, but they don't do much anymore.
I thought they were just going to put them in your wife's purse for like...
No, they've been there for years.
Ah, okay. So it's just an official thing.
Yes, yes.
Well, the nice thing is that she lets him carry her purse around a
Exactly.
lot.
So technically, I'm still carrying my balls. They just happen to be in my wife's purse.
It is good to have such... I was going to say masculine goals, but I would say misogynistic goals going on today. But that we are not here just to talk about your balls.
What?
Yeah, as it turns out, I've ordered a cock extension from Privateer Press. I'm going to be getting some prime... Oh, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're doing the news first. Okay, so today...
In the news.
In the news. Well, not really today in the news because there's not a lot of news coming out.
No.
Now, we keep saying that. What we should more say is we have returned to normal amounts of news.
Right, and we haven't been paying that much attention.
Well, we try and keep up with at least a little of it.
Right,
because
yes.
we do this silly podcast.
Yes.
But the reason that it always seems like such a small news day is that we had the whole run-up to Mark III.
Yeah.
Now we're just getting sort of, standard amounts of
regular
news.
stuff.
Yeah. Now there is some decently sized news going on. We'll get rid of some of the little stuff to start with, though.
Yeah.
We are finally seeing in retail the new resculpts of the casters. So there's a lot of the very, very first casters that have gotten resculpts. Haley, Sorsha.
Because Haley needed an 8th resculpt, I think.
It's not 8. This is only the
7.
third one. Well, I mean, like, if you count all the Haleys, you've got 3 for the Haley 3, 1 for Haley 2, and then now 3 for Haley 1. That's only 7.
So what's happened, though, is that they've basically taken some of the primary casters that we all know and love that hadn't been resculpted in a few years, and they gave them kind of a facelift.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, some of them, like Sorsha and Haley 1, other than their alt sculpts, had the same retail sculpt for like 8 years or something.
And things have improved a little over
yeah.
in the modeling department at Privateer Press since then.
Well, some of those original sculpts are beautiful, but a lot of the new technologies that didn't exist
Right.
when those casters were designed actually have showed up and are quite nice. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Back then, they still were doing the sculpts by hand, and that made a giant difference in the quality. Some would say that there was sort of also a gap in that when they went to computer-generated sculpts, that things kind of went downhill a little bit because you didn't have the detail and the paintability. But yeah, now they've kind of mastered the computer-generated sculpt and enhanced it, so to speak, and they're much, much better.
One of the things I really like about the new sculpts is that they look much more like the artwork in the book.
Right.
So if you look at Haley 1's artwork and then look at the model, it's actually the model of the artwork as opposed to just being the person in the artwork.
Yeah.
Right. So that picture that dragged you into the game in the first place is now the reason why is the thing you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. The next thing that we have seen that is actually quite big news for any of us in the competitive scene is the WTC lists have finally come out.
Right.
So the WTC, just to give a grounding to anybody who, for some ungodly reason, this is their first podcast, is the World Team Championships. It is a really neat 5-man per team event that this year is happening in, I want to say, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And because it is a large international event, you have to put in your list way ahead of time.
Right.
Now the thing is, everybody has to put in their list at the same time, so nobody knows. It's exactly the same as everybody showing up with their list.
Nobody
the
gets
day
any
of.
advantage
Nobody
over the
gets
other
it,
person.
Yeah, because everybody has to have their lists all submitted at the same time.
Yeah.
But one of the great things for those of us who are spectators is that all of those lists actually come out way before the event, so we can all look through what our teams have done. We can look out at what's going to be coming up, and a lot of us are looking at what our favorite faction is playing. If you're a troll player, you'll notice that.
I think the big thing is that it's also our first chance to see what the best players are doing and begin to dojo around what the example, one of the things that we've seen, and I've gone through half the lists. I didn't see anything Merc, but apparently there are a couple of Merc lists in there. But you'll notice that there's a ton of Retribution, and you'll notice a huge sway on the side of Warmachine and Armor Skew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, now that the things that are heavily armored are easy to also run, it is so easy to have an armor skew.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You can see, I wouldn't say where the problems are, but where people's perceptions of power casters are when you look at certain factions.
Right.
Obviously, the ones that I immediately looked at Signar and Convergence, because they're my home factions, all the old names were showing up on the Signar one. Mm-hmm. All of the names were showing up on the Convergence one because there's only 5. But interestingly to me, Aurora hasn't grown as much as I would have expected to her. She's a much bigger threat, I think, in Mark III. But what I found really interesting just flipping through them was Madrak 2. There was a troll pie chart that looked like... not quite half of it, but I would say, I think it was 41 or 42% of people had taken Madrak 2.
Wow.
So whether there is actually a problem with that caster, and I think a lot of people would argue that there is.
There absolutely is.
I would say
question.
His perceived value in the international meta is very, very high right now.
Yeah.
Now,
well, I think here's the reality with Madrak is that if you're a troll player, Madrak is going to be your any infantry ever drop. So if you're dealing with a Cephalix player, dealing with anybody who's playing a level infantry, it's actually a decent retribution drop. You're going to see Madrak. And you've also seen what's coming out of the tournaments right now, and Madrak players are winning games.
Yeah. I think we're going to leave this topic right here, but I want to...
we could probably dive deeper into this next week.
Well, we're not going to dive deeper into it next week because the right after us is Troll Blood Scrum.
Oh, okay.
And they
They're
have
gonna dig in
Jason
it?
Flanzer on.
Ah,
And they are going to dig really deep into it. So
check around for that.
Yeah, so
Stick around.
everybody hang around on the network after we're done with this strange and wonderful thing we're about to do.
Strange.
I don't know why you're doing this, G. I mean, our opinions are so good and founded on high quality, high play skill.
What? One troll player who's only played the battle box and 2 people who have never touched trolls? You mean those opinions?
Trolls have touched me.
Yeah, in a bad place.
Anywho.
All right, so go ahead.
We're gonna do something kind of special tonight, from what I understand. There, G. You guys thought out of the box this evening.
We did.
We didn't go to out of the box this week. We actually went to the Barley Bow.
Well, no, you thought.
Yes, we were thinking out of the box. More to the point, we were thinking we really need to record more games for the channel.
And then we recorded one where you're like, I don't know that
Now
we need to
know
do
why
this.
we don't record games for the channel.
It's evidence.
My evidence of trauma with a blunt object.
Mm-hmm.
No, we really want to start actually putting out more games for everybody.
Which we will do.
And this, as sort of the first blush, we thought we'd kind of, fuck it, we'll do it live type
See
of
what
thing.
happens.
So what we have for everybody is a game that we recorded on Monday night.
Just 2 nights ago.
Yeah, just 2 nights ago. And the regret has already set in deeply.
Oh, the regret was setting in immediately.
And unlike a lot of video that you guys will see on the channel,
Right.
most of the video that we bring you is from high caliber players at high caliber events. We bring you things like the Southern Ontario Open, finals from OTC and stuff like that. This isn't that.
No. God, no.
This is so far from that you can't see it on a clear day.
Yeah.
But what this is
Let's be straight up. This is 2 drunken idiots at the pub playing a game.
Yeah.
I'll have
honestly,
you know I was the DD, so I was not drunk.
Oh, I have an excuse then. I was fairly in the bag.
Oh, yes. I'm just bad at this game, as anybody who's actually played me will know.
Yeah.
I lost both games last on Monday, which was good because I'm trying to get the Signar beat out of me, so I don't feel so bad about going back to Convergence. So what we are going to do is we're going to do a commentary live. So Maelstrom is currently being actually challenged to games by the chat, so that could be entertaining.
Oh, I'll take on all comers.
Not you anymore.
Yeah.
God damn it. But what we have done is we...
Oh, Maelstrom, you knew this wasn't coming.
Much like me for the next month or 2.
So what we have is we have our first game from the Crossroads of Courage.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is game played at the pub, as we've spoken about before. It is significantly sped up. So what's going to happen in a couple seconds here is we are going to, for all you video players, we're going to go to the full screen. And it's going to show the video, and then everybody else can get our commentary. Now, if you are listening to this as an audio podcast, what I'll tell you to do is go to our Facebook page or go to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find a video called Crossroads of Courage, Old Jeb versus Striker 2. And when I give the countdown, we'll start the video, and you guys can watch along. I will warn you, there is some questionable music choices made there. Suggest turning that right down.
Just hit the mute button.
Yeah, muting it was probably a good idea, and just listen to our dulcet tones.
I want to warn everybody. I think the name of this podcast should be Worst Audio Podcast Ever.
You don't sound that bad, Will.
I know. All right. Now let's when to hit the button.
All righty.
How do we know it's going to work? Might not work.
Wait. It has to work? Shit.
Somebody on the chat should tell us if it's working.
All right. So we are going to go
It's muted, right?
the video in 5, 4,
It's not muted.
3, 2, 1.
Well, the best part about all the first 10 minutes of this is that nothing happened.
I wouldn't say nothing happens. I would say very little happens.
I would also just like to point out that this originally was a 3.5 hour fucking game.
Oh, it's only 2.5 hours.
Was it only 2.5? It felt like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, so this was a 2.5 hour game that we have sped up many times.
Yeah.
And basically...
And cut a bunch out because George gets distracted and likes to talk to other people.
Well, that I would say that isn't my fault, but it is.
Yeah, you just be like, shut up. I'm trying to play a game here, motherfuckers.
I really should learn how to do that.
Yeah.
But,
Because that's how you lost on clock last time.
yeah, that is true.
How we on clock every time.
Yeah.
I just get Mike to talk to Dojo a list right next to him. He can't help himself.
No, I will totally 100% jump in. So, since I have deployed, I will go on here. This is my Striker 2 list, and that is my lunch, or my dinner that you can see showing up in the frame there. It was a lovely Big Mao burger. So, my Striker 2 list is Mr. Striker 2, obviously. His battle group consists of Thorn and Old Rowdy, because why wouldn't it? He has Silas Wishnailer, who I believe I forgot to place on the battlefield. Yep, yeah, he is gone.
Oh, yeah, you were down a model.
Yeah, I was down. Oh, yeah, it started great. For solos, there's Ragman and the Junior, who is running a Firefly.
Right.
Also, Pendrake is there to give people Pathfinder.
Yes.
Because there's rubble on one side, a water on the other side, and sometimes Striker needs to walk 12 inches through a forest to kill Wormwood.
Yeah.
So along with that, for infantry, we have 2 entire units of Stormlances.
They're fun.
Yeah, they are awesome. I do love the Death Ponies. And Lattimore to round it out. So you're now deployed on the
I
other
want
side.
everybody to notice at this point, before Jason starts to talk about his list, because, I mean, really, we've got another 20 minutes before he's done deploying at this point. For all the grief we're giving G about taking so long to deploy on clock, or so long losing games
Off
on clock,
Yeah.
it takes you 8.5 minutes to put your models on the table.
Yeah, there was something else going on there. I think we were talking to somebody. Oh, I believe Renee was bringing us beer at the time.
Well,
All right.
was this Renee bringing you the second beer so you could double fist?
Yes.
Because that did happen at one point. I can see you have one beer in the upper right-hand corner there.
Yeah.
Not on a Moosemachine coaster. I am disappointed.
You have all my Moosemachine coasters.
So,
Jason, what do you got in this list, buddy?
I got 2 units of Hellmouth because they're super fun and everybody hates them.
fuck the Hellmouth.
I have a full
Fuck
unit
it and its
of
stupid ass.
Bladedness Swordsman as well.
Fuck it, places Maelstrom can no longer fuck.
God damn it, G. I got Mr. Typhon. I'm using Thags 1 for a caster. I have a unit of War Spears.
One of your favorites?
Yes. I'm really starting to like Thags 1 a lot. I didn't use him much at all in Mark 2 because I seem to be enjoying Veils more at the time, but I'm really enjoying Thags 1 at this point. So I had Thags. I had a Carnivian. Mm-hmm. So the only beasts I had were Typhon and the Carnivian.
Carney and Typhon.
The War Spears in the UA, which I already mentioned. The Strider Deathstalker and another Strider Deathstalker, as well as a Shepherd and a Forsaken.
Yeah, really solid list. I really like this list. Those swordsmen, I feel like they've gotten way better.
Oh, swordsmen are
in
crazy
Mark
now.
3.
Yeah, they're
Because
really good.
In Mark 2, I think I tried them a couple times and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Mark 3, they always seem to fuck me up.
Yeah, well, yeah, their
All right,
Weapon Masters P+S 11 with Draconic Blessing goes up to 13, so
13 POW 13 charging weapon masters is
a little scary, especially when
dangerous.
there's 10 of them.
Yeah.
All right, so here's where I have to say that something super distracting must have happened.
Yeah.
You've got things. So where did you place the 2 Hellmouths? One
Yeah.
on the mountain,
Yeah,
and then one behind the forest. Super
Yeah.
legit. But it's what? So you think that somebody distracted you during the 10 minutes that it took you to deploy?
Well, I'm done now. That wasn't.
All right.
Oh, that wasn't 10. And George's. Right now it's George's turn to go first. So he's eating his fucking burger over there, as you can see.
Yeah, I'm still eating. Like I said, fuck this noise, I'm eating.
So this probably could have been edited out. I mean, as much as we like to watch George eat.
Well, I'm eating off camera.
And it should be mentioned that the proxy base I have over there in the top corner is Old Jeb himself.
Yeah. Now let's
right.
Let's go over the scenario. So you've got Old Jeb
while we're
over
waiting
there.
for you to finish your burger.
Yeah. Well, while I'm eating, what are you supposed to do with Old Jeb?
Keep him alive.
So that's the entire thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But
he's also a general nuisance.
He is. He grants Pathfinder and Tough to any friendly models he's within 5 inches of, which putting him in a bunch of swordsmen makes them fairly nasty,
ungodly.
Yeah.
And where are you trying to get him?
Come again, Will? Come again?
He also has a negative as well. Like he's not just he also kind of sucks to have near your units as well.
Does he?
Yeah, you might want to reread the card.
Because every time he's attacked, he sack pawns to one of your guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. He does have sack pawns.
That's also why he was in the cheap seats.
Yeah, that's why he was in the cheap seats. I mean, losing one swordsman per attack is not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. We must mention that Old Jeb, the reason that there's a blast template in my deployment zone is that's where Old Jeb is supposed to go. So this is George's turn 1 going on right now.
Yeah.
As you can see, I moved the Firefly out because the whole point of the package here with the Firefly, Lattimore, and the Horsies is to electroleap the shit out of everything. That doesn't work this game because of 2 reasons. One, I've learned you can't electroleap Hellmouths to death because 1 die is not enough.
You need to roll like a 5 or something just to kill the tentacle.
Yeah, exactly. And then with the swordsman, which would be the other really great target to electroleap into, they are going to be base 14, I think.
Base 14, but under Fog of War they go up to Def 16.
Yeah, it's just a real pain in the butt. So so my turn's done. I basically just ran everything forward.
Yeah,
Horses on one side.
This is the point where I forgot that was actually just rubble and not a full house.
Yeah, so you
like
very carefully position yourself right on the edge of that rubble that you can totally see right through.
Yeah, and I think at this point you had told me that's just rubble, idiot. You can shoot through that.
And you're like,
oh, I'm going to do 1 point of damage to a fucking...
Now, your biggest problem here was Arcane Shielded... Knights.
Yeah, Arcane Shield on those things is just disgusting.
Yeah, so decel for 2.
Yeah.
Against ranged. Arcane Shield for 3.
Yeah.
Base 17.
Yeah.
So arm 22, you're just like 1
point of damage. Yeah. Yay, snipe.
Yeah.
So I want to interject in an interesting point. Rubble is a new piece of terrain, and I think we're all learning it. I think we've all had to deal with a rubble learning curve at one point or another. So, Jason, don't feel bad about that because I've seen top players go through a bit of a weird moment learning how to handle rubble.
Right.
Yeah, I really want to, hopefully in our next video, we'll have either the Burning Forest or the Fog.
Yeah.
Because I really want to try out all these new terrain types. Now, you're placing that tentacle in a place that I thought was kind of weird.
Which one, the top one?
The top one, because even though it was engaging and was slightly annoying, there's no way you could actually drag anybody in because of that wall.
that was to prevent your impact attack just stomp over everything.
Okay, so the entire idea there was just literally to gum up those horses.
Yes. Yeah. Gumming up the horses, then just spread out the swordsman. Spread them up.
That's fully legit, dude.
Yeah, so you're moving out those swordsmen.
Yeah.
I think you're measuring to see where the clouds are going to get to. The second unit of
knocking over a Carnivian.
Destroying a Carney. the second unit of tentacles goes out, and it's sort of the same thing. You're just placing them out where
Just
you think
spreading
they'll
them
be in
out.
the way.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to charge through them, they have reach. So as long as they're there, you're going to get free strikes. You can't go through them. You have to deal with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, can they drag during their free strike?
They sure can. Yeah, if you try to go by and I get a free strike and hit, I can do the initial attack with the tentacle, then pull you into the mouth, and the mouth also gets an attack.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, it's the only drag that I can think of that is like that.
Yeah.
It's a really neat, and that model is really neat. It's a really neat interaction.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's one of the few models recently that I have found technically interesting.
Here's me trying to throw my prey token
back out and in.
Yep, we already did that. So we'll continue on from where we were. Here we are just doing horribleness with ponies, and as you can see, one has finally strayed into the top of the screen there. They're just completely failing to kill tentacles, completely failing to kill swordsmen.
Yeah.
And the swordsmen that I am actually managing to hit are toughing.
Yes, a couple of those toughed, which was nice.
Because last turn you actually managed to move old Jeb.
Yep.
The problem will come up on your next turn, as I recall.
Yes. The turn coming up.
So it looks like finished. Looks like I'm finishing up with those ponies. So at this point, we're just getting around to your turn.
Mm-hmm.
What is going through your head with all those ponies jammed up?
I don't like those high arm, hard to hit ponies all up in my face. They're hard. High def, high arm too, with arcane shield and decel on them. They're hard to kill, and they're mobile as fuck, and they do damage. It's really imperative to get rid of those ponies as quick as you can. But they're hard to get rid of when they're armed 22.
Now, as you can tell, whenever a Signar player is done their turn, because they activate the Journeyman and walk him very, very slightly forward, just in case you need that POW 12.
Yeah.
So we're over to your turn. So
yeah,
you're going into the tank here a little bit, trying to figure out what the hell to do next.
Well, you baited me perfectly with a no focus striker sitting there.
So you're like, how
do I kill Striker this turn?
Die?
And I'm tapping my fingers on the table, and I'm measuring how the hell can I get stuff over there to kill Striker. Which I completely, even doing that, I completely did it wrong. I think if I was going to kill Striker, I prioritized Lattimore for some reason when I shouldn't have.
Yeah. Now, why do you think? Like, I know now looking back at it, you think it's wrong.
Yeah.
But at the time, do you have an idea of what you were thinking with her?
Well, I think the plan was to move Lattimore out of the way, pop a tentacle, and pull old Rowdy out of the way with the Hellmouth.
Oh, I see. So you're getting rid of that +2 to my defense.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of old Rowdy, obviously getting him the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to worry about him for targeting reasons.
Yeah. So the whole idea was that most of my war spears could stand and aim at Lattimore.
Yeah.
I think I only had to move 2 of them. Of course, I think I missed pretty much every shot on Lattimore that I had.
Lattimore was damn near unkillable this game.
And this is where I'm measuring to see if I can get sprays against Striker with Typhon. Because if I can get Typhon close enough, I got 3 boosted sprays to hit.
Now, when you're measuring something like that, you are obviously measuring over the top of Typhon because he's a big model.
Right. And there's war spears in the way.
Yeah, there's a lot
There's a bunch of shit going on there.
That is obviously a really important distance.
Yeah.
Do you think that in a tournament, maybe with a few less beers in you might have
so
you might have gotten closer to the board with that?
Yeah, so what I did measuring there, I measured 6 inches out from Typhon. Mm-hmm. I think I put my finger down or something and like laid an 8-inch spray.
Well, you actually just touched the spray to the end of the tape measure.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I asked you because old Rowdy is kind of in the way. I can't see over old Rowdy, and you said I was in. So I'm like,
with the placement of the template that you had put down, you were definitely that green spray template that you put over top was definitely touching Striker.
Yeah.
So based
I built the rest of my turn based on
that
around that information.
Yeah.
Getting things out of the way so I could get as many shots as possible on Striker.
Yeah. You're it looks like you're going into the tank here. You like me are doing this.
I overthink everything.
Well, you do the same thing I seem to do, which is you build a plan for the important part of your army, and then it's like just throwing models around for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I, as a personal thing, I think it's something I really need to think about
same,
whole army as
same
opposed
here.
to the bit I'm really interested in.
Yeah, well, the whole plan was the assassination for this turn, so I did pretty much everything with my models
outside of the assassination?
To build towards that assassination, except for the swordsmen who had the spell on them that they couldn't charge, which really brings the swordsmen down a notch.
Yeah.
Because even though they are weapon masters, they're only P plus S, with 13 with Draconic Blessing against armed 22 murder ponies.
No, they're only 20 against the melee.
Against melee, right. But still, that's...
Well,
5 boxes on each of them.
Dice -7 when you're rolling 3 dice. That's only 3 or 4 per guy.
That's right, yeah.
And these horses have 5.
Yeah. So...
My God, you are so in the tank here. Holy crap.
Yeah.
There's so much thinking going on.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm moving,
Well, no, he's a little bit ahead because we paused to fix the audio.
Yeah.
So now after this combat is when you go right into the tank.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. One of the things that that I think both G and I have had problems with in the past, I feel like but one of the bad habits you've picked up from us is during assassination attempts in particular, the lack of commitment. You don't want to make that decision. And what happens is you burn your time, and then your assassination fails, and then you're screwed on clock.
Right. Yeah, that's what I overthink to death. Can I get the assassination? And I play it over about 20 times in my head before I actually do it.
Yeah, and you overthink literally.
That lack of commitment. Whereas I would say if you are in a deep tank situation on an assassination, and you really have to carve and scalpel it out, it may have been better at that point to not go for the assassination and try to just clear a bunch of models or whatever, because now you've literally burned another 5-10 minutes on your clock, which is going to leave you in a deficit next turn.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, one thing I've noticed is you've made the appropriate measurement about 6 times.
Yeah, that's another thing I do terribly.
The problem is that none of the times have you gotten that tape measure anywhere near the table.
Yeah,
you're just hanging it out in the open.
Yeah.
And
now, did you get G to also agree with you that that measurement was correct?
He did.
The one measurement I did totally agree on was when he put that green template over top of my caster. I said, yes, this green template is definitely over top of my caster.
Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, here's the thing: if you two had agreed upon a set measurement that you had made several times being accurate, if you had questioned that was not accurate, it probably would have been a good call for you to just say, maybe we should get close to the table, maybe we should call a judge, maybe we should do a proxy base. Because ultimately, if you've agreed that measurement is accurate and that he can make it, then he doesn't need to measure it again.
Well, yes, in that case, I would say if I had wanted to say this is an accurate measurement, I would have said we really need to get something closer to the table. I didn't think of it at the time. The question was not, are these measurements accurate? The question was, is that template over top of your caster? And that was the question I answered. Right. What I should have been thinking ahead for was, what does that mean, right? Because at the time I was just like, oh, this is you said, is this template over your caster? I'm like, yeah, totally. That's over the caster.
Yeah, so Jason, at the same time, the criticism for you would have been when doing that measurement, make sure you get as low to the table as possible. And once G's agreed that is in, I am trying to shoot. Is this spray that I'm shooting from this guy to this, is it in? If he's agreed, and the two, that means, I mean, ultimately that word is kind of bond. I mean, yeah, you can remeasure it. But if he's...
And the worst part is when we actually got down to it and Old Rowdy was moved out of the way and there was a proxy base put in, the movement was done with a precision measuring tool. We got the spray template out. I was off by not even a millimeter. Like it was.
Yeah,
you
were out a very tiny amount.
We had to call somebody over because it was just that close.
Yeah, and as I was saying, that if I had been thinking ahead of time, or if you had said to me, so Typhon can totally make that move, right? And then had just done it as opposed to measuring it at the time, I think I wouldn't have questioned you.
Right.
If you had just said,
but
okay, here, move it here. I'm gonna move out and then fire. But you went ahead and started putting down measuring tools
because I don't want to win.
Yes.
If it's not
I completely understand why, but I'm just saying, not that other people should be doing this, but that this concept of where we are both agreeing to a location or a movement.
Yeah.
I think if you hadn't gotten out these templates, if you had just said, "Oh, I move up here and I spray," and we had already just decided that, then I would have been, "Oh yeah, you're totally going to get Striker."
Yeah.
Because
the problem is I think the comment is that you should have brought these templates out to start, or made it obvious that this is exactly what your movement was going to be when you're pre-measuring entire plan around this, and then failed because of that.
Yeah, and you can see here we're getting another player to come in and make that call because it was close enough that I really didn't want to deny it to Jason because, we
had to get somebody to look at it because it was that close.
Yeah, exactly. And is this the point at which you decide to start spraying all the things randomly?
Yeah, at this point, Typhon, I think, was the only model I had left besides the Hellmouth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, at this point, everything I had worked for was
gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
So I was at my flip the table moment because it was frustrating, beyond frustrating.
Absolutely. Now, in hindsight, do you feel you should have moved up Typhon somewhere where you could do some more damage, or maybe even hid Typhon, because you created this big alleyway to him where all my guys can shoot at him? Do you think maybe moving him behind the tentacle instead of beside it would have been a better move? Like, in hindsight, obviously.
I needed to get rid of some models off the table.
Obviously, that was the time you were deep in the tank.
Yeah.
This was, what am I going to do moment.
Yeah, and I wanted to get rid of some. I wanted Lattimore gone.
Yeah, because fuck that bitch.
Because fucking Lattimore. And I needed to get rid of some models because I knew next turn a lot of my stuff was going to be gone.
Mm-hmm. So you spray the fuck out of your tentacle repeatedly.
Yeah, I kill the tentacle.
And I think you dehorse Lattimore in this shot?
Yeah, I think I dehorse Lattimore on my second shot and then kill the
Killer
Dragoon
with the third.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you do a ridiculous amount of damage with that second shot.
Yeah, it was quite high.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think it was
to
2
see.
4s and a 6 or something.
Something like that.
14.
Yeah. It was awesome. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And
bye tentacle.
Bye tentacle. And so you boost to hit the second time and then kill him off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was just, because I had 5 Fury on Typhon at that point. So
yeah. Well, I think you kind of went into RAR kill all the things mode when you like in table flip mode, as you were saying.
Yeah, and honestly, I just didn't know what else to do at that point. I only had Typhon and a Hellmouth tentacle left.
Looking back at it, looking at it now,
yep.
I might have gotten rid of that Firefly. I actually think it's
I wasn't sure
more
that Typhon
dangerous.
could get rid of the Firefly.
That's
Firefly's
only a POW 16 or ARM 16.
Right, but there's a lot of boxes on a Firefly.
It is a decent amount of boxes.
If I could get into melee with the Firefly,
it's dead.
I would.
So dead.
But where I only have the 3 sprays, I wasn't sure that I could take out an entire Firefly with those 3 sprays.
So that was your last move, and
I don't, Jason. You honestly, you had a very low chance of taking out a Firefly with 3 sprays.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was thinking.
Killing as many of the things that are close to you may have. I think that was a better call.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I don't think I could reach anything else but Lattimore at that point.
Mm-hmm. So I make a very bad choice right here. I have put 3 focus on the Firefly.
Yeah.
With and my hope is to electroly some people to death. Or no, old Jeb. I want to take a shot at old Jeb.
But
and
old Jeb
win the
was
game.
further than 4 inches away, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, I just want to straight shoot him.
Oh, you just wanted to
straight shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
I'm putting down that that template to make sure that I don't engage the hellmouth, because then I'm not going to get my shot off. Measure out to see if I've got the 6 inches. I'm fine. And I crack a shot off at old Jeb, and as I recall, it was a 1-1-2. Something like that. It was total
bad,
trash.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there goes that win the game
When
button.
you rolled a trip ones on this game somewhere too.
At least one.
Yeah.
Well, round 1, I could not miss.
Yeah,
you
that's
recall.
true. Yeah, you hit a lot of
round,
shit.
Or round 2 or something.
You rolled shit damage, but you hit a lot of things.
It was 5s and 6s and 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
And I could not roll to kill anything to save my life. But later on in the game, there was a lot of 1s and 2s, except on Striker's Overload and Feet.
Right.
Which is what this turn is going to be, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what the hell's going on right now. I failed that. I might be in the tank, or I might be talking to someone. That is the problem with being the local PG, is that...
everybody wants to chat you up.
Yeah. Okay, so back to actually playing. I'm looking down at the table thinking, what the hell am I going to do? I am staring down... I'm seeing 2 heavies.
Yeah.
And all Thagrosh has is 2 heavies, and I'm like, I can kill 2 heavies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing that I can do.
Yeah.
And this is the point in the game where I have decided to lose the game. Whenever I am playing Striker, there's a point at the game in which I decide now I will lose the game because I'm going to overload.
Yeah.
And my expectation every time I overload is that I'm going to crank 3 6s and kill Striker.
Yeah.
Just kill him dead.
Yeah.
So I always, at this point, I have made peace with the fact that I have just lost the game.
Right.
Now, I haven't lost the game because Striker does not instantly die. Spoilers.
Yep.
But this is the point. It's very interesting. This is the only caster I've ever had that experience with.
Yep.
Where you just get to like turn 3 and you're like, now I can die. I can die happy.
Yeah.
So the murder ponies are going in and being murder ponies.
Yep.
When they have gotten out there like this, I have decided that this is going to be my feet turn. Now, one thing that careful viewers may have noticed is not once have I cast positive charge. There is a +2 buff, just not out there at all. And that really would have helped a lot. Now, that being said, Old Rowdy is going to do his thing.
Yep.
Again, I should have given Old Rowdy some more focus. Mm-hmm. I really should have.
Because Typhon doesn't even have excessive healing up to this point because I used all my fury to take out Lattimore.
Yeah, and I should just be putting down. I should just be putting him down right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not something that happens.
Yeah.
So I spend a little time. I pull up my feet token because I know I'm going to activate Striker next. And it's time for Happy Overload. And I overload for 9.
9 strength, yeah.
9 strength.
Yeah.
Which is, it's okay. It's not great.
Yeah, Jesus. We put him up to what? P plus S 24?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
The downside of that was the rolling of 15 damage.
Yeah.
Putting me on 3 health or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
No, 5. You had 5
I had
health
5
left.
health.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a 17. I must roll to 12. So yeah, this is, it was kind of average for each one, but not good.
Right.
It is not the way you want to see it. Now,
And
on the other hand,
just killed a Carney, though.
on the other hand, swinging a Carney.
Yeah. 2 hits killed a Carney.
Yeah, Striker may be a fucking beast.
Yeah.
And this is the point at where I'm like, do I want to move 3 inches ahead and kill your tentacle? That
Yeah, the
sounds
Hellmouth,
like
yeah.
a thing I want to do. And I decide not to because at this point I haven't yet realized that it's a it's a 2-inch per focus. I still think it's 1 per focus. So I moved Ragman up. He does his thing, which he should have done before, because as we know very well, George does not know how to play this fucking list and did not give out any of the bonuses before making attacks.
Yeah.
Because if I had done everything right,
Yeah.
Old Rowdy is a Mat 10 POW 23 hammer.
Wow. That's gross.
Well, it's +2 for positive charge.
Yeah.
To hit and damage, and he's already an 8, so he goes to a 10. And his 18 POW goes up to a 20. And then +2 for Blight Shroud with Ragman.
Wow.
So anybody within 3 inches of Ragman gives Blight Shroud. Anything in a melee of a Blight Shroud model is -2 to its armor.
So you're moving that dude there up.
Who's that dude?
The Jack. The brown Jack
Thorn.
Thorn.
Thorn's running up. At this point, I'm like, yes, I will move up the model that I cast positive charge. Oh, wait, I didn't cast positive charge. So at this point, my idea is I just need to get as much stuff as close to Old Jeb as possible. And now
this was your feet turn, right?
Yeah, and those are my feet moves that I'm starting to do. As I recall, I managed to spend 20 points of horses to kill exactly 3 points of model.
Yeah.
I think that unit is a point a guy. So I think I killed 2 points of models, maybe 3. It was not a good trade.
Yeah.
I'm still having that problem. So boost to hit and boost damage on that Hellmouth with the POW 13 pokey bit on that Firefly.
You kill the Hellmouth, don't you?
I think so. I very carefully you very carefully killed his gun.
Yes.
The turn before, leaving the pokey bit there for me to start poking things. And again, I have just stopped fucking playing. There we go. I'm back. I move up Ragman just so that I can get Blightfield out closer. I'm getting you to confirm that there's 5 inches. Yep. So this is the thing that we should have done before. We confirmed the 5 inches, which meant I could move my 3 inches and know that I was in melee without having to measure the melee range. And then I take the swing and a war spear and totally bail on it. And then it's time for that unit of horsies. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure they're in command. Like, looking at it now, I'm like, that leader looks awful far back.
Yeah.
We could just add it to the giant list of shit we've done wrong.
Our 2 turns here were just absolute shit fest, really, as far as remembering things. Like, I didn't even remember Thagrosh's the -2 strength to things within his command.
Oh, God, yeah. So I'm not killing any of these things. Like, probably there's at least 4 damage less on Typhon right now.
Yep.
Because I've screwed that up. Probably there's at least one of those war spears that's alive. So I'm like, do I want to kill a Hellmouth with Striker? Well, yes, I do. Striker moves up, swings at that Hellmouth, and I do believe he kind of evaporates under the POW 20...
The 24.
POW 24.
Even if you have 1 less die.
Yeah, it doesn't really
POW
matter.
24 is going to kill that sucker because he's got 8 health. So,
but as long as I roll a 2?
As long as you roll a 2 on 2 dice.
Yeah.
So chances are he's going to die. Yeah. Anyway, Hellmouth evaporates.
And I think that was my last guy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so you're in the tank, and you're like, what the fuck do I do?
I just want to get this game over with so I can go home and cry.
So it sounds like it's time for the spell that every Thagrosh player casts just before the game's over.
Yep. Mutagenesis, ladies and gentlemen.
Mutagenesis.
Or it shall be renamed for this game, Cheetagenesis.
Yes.
You'll see why in a minute.
Mutagenesis is an awesome spell. Can you give me the quick rundown on what Mutagenesis does? Because there's not a lot of people dumb enough to cast it.
So Mutagenesis is a spell of Thagrosh's on the back of his card where you can target a model. If you hit, it's a POW 12, and if you remove the enemy model, you get to place Thagrosh where that enemy model was.
So the idea...
There's a very large key word here. Can we go back over that key word, please?
Enemy model.
Enemy model.
Enemy model. Funny.
See, But the thing is, if you read the first sentence of the card, you can target any model with mutagenesis.
If you read the first sentence of the card.
I think it's time to
cheat.
channel some Banky here.
To cheat massively.
What does your card say?
My card says that I can kill whatever I want and put Thagrosh there.
I'd like you to read that again.
Yeah.
What does that last sentence say?
See, and I'm wondering if I probably could have tried to do it on one of the horses there at the bottom instead.
Yeah, the only problem with mutagenesis is you're unable to move. There's that clause.
Right.
Or you can't move afterward.
That horse looks like it's within melee.
I would say almost certainly it is.
Yeah.
There's a second problem with mutagenesis is that you've also burned a bunch of your fury at that.
It costs 3 fury to just
do it.
Yeah. So that brings you down to 4 if you're camping your full 7. The problem I had even on this was that I flubbed. I needed a 4 to hit that shepherd and get rid of it. I rolled a 3.
Yeah, you trip one on that.
Yeah. No, I just a 2 and a 1.
Oh, 2 and a 1. Okay.
2 and a 1. So I missed the mutagenesis to start with. So I'm like,
so here we go.
Yeah.
You're double checking,
triple checking,
making sure that 2 inches is going to be 2 inches.
Yep.
After the last movement shenanigans, you're like, screw this noise. Give me that template.
Yeah.
Here we go. We know right where he
do it.
is.
Lots
We're
of
going to
room.
measure the distance. We're
Yep.
all good. I agree that it's good. And we roll some dice. And this is the
Yep.
part where you're going, fuck, because you've just rolled 3 ones.
Yeah. No, a 2 and a 1.
A 2 and a 1. Sorry. I'm trying to make it worse than it was.
So not only this game went really bad for me in so many places. Just missing that a 4.
A 4.
There
it is.
Yeah.
Right there.
A 2 and a 1. At this point, my hands are under the table and slightly lifting.
I'm like trying to keep my models.
I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna try again.
So there goes his entire stack. I believe.
He's got 1 left.
Oh, he's got 1 left.
Got
That's
1
right.
left. So let's pretend for a second that the shepherd is not a friendly faction model.
Yeah. So assuming that I actually brought that Silas, and for some reason he ran ahead.
Yes.
So Silas is standing there. You mutagenesis Silas because he's an idiot, and then you swing on Striker.
I boost a hit with my last fury
because you're like, fuck,
because I
this
need to hit,
noise.
and
So now
we're figuring out what I need to actually kill him.
Yeah,
which is a 10.
It is a 10 because I can dump 5.
Yep, and you have
and
5
I have
on
health.
you.
Yeah,
and I rolled 11.
And there's the game.
And there's the game.
The game.
Yeah.
What's left of the game.
Yeah. So I did cheat massively.
You did.
But to be fair, George and I and Will went through this a week beforehand. Just a week beforehand about this exact same spell, exact same conditions. And we all...
Exactly the same interaction. Right down to the player. This isn't even a question of...
Nope.
And do you recall what I said just before you did the mutagenesis? Remember, you can't mutagenesis the Dragoon.
Yep. That wasn't a Dragoon, it was a Shepherd.
As it turns out, also an invalid mutagenesis
target. So
you're 2 for 2 on mutagenesis targets.
The two of us, myself especially, because I had the card, should have realized that Shepherd was not a valid mutagenesis target.
Well, I also should have, checked that shit.
Well,
let's leave the forgetting the card behind, because also if Silas had been there, and there was other targets, we just needed to remember that you would have had a couple extra minutes to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think this would have still been a successful assassination run. Let's go to G. How do you Did you feel like you made a mistake to leave that open window again, or do you think you were safe from that 11?
To be brutally honest, I thought I thought it was going to be rough, but I figured that Thagrosh was not going to be able to do enough damage with the mutagenesis. Well, sorry. At first, I didn't think of the mutagenesis because I have long ago written off mutagenesis as a spell that is a bad choice, and since it's not a choice that I would normally make as a Thagrosh player, I kind of wrote it off. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even really think of it as a danger.
You failed to realize how deep in the tank I was.
Well, that's also kind of a terrible choice to write off a spell that actually is a legit assassination run when the cards come. I mean, you can't protect against everything, obviously, but in this case, this is 2 weeks in a row. Jason's had mutagenesis on the board, so to speak.
Yeah.
And being able to boost it or buy another attack gave him a legitimate chance on a 4 on that Shepherd. Now, that was whatever. We're not allowed to do that anymore. But throwing that to the window, if he had used a different target, he definitely had a chance at the whole thing. Before we go this evening, I think we need to give a little shout out to our friends at the Wizard's Tower. What do you guys have to say about WT?
Oh, I love them.
I love them too.
The Wizard's Tower is one of the places. If I had to pick a FLGS for myself, like the friendly local game store, I would probably pick the Tower.
Oh, I definitely would.
They're no longer the closest because Out of the Box opened, and they are nice and close to me. But realistically, if I need a game, that's still where I go.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure,
I mean?
Yeah. They have a really great setup. They have all the models you need.
Yep, they are one stocking, and they also something that not a lot of Warmachine players probably think about is that last weekend I went with 2 non-Warmachine players to the Tower, and they were able to take advantage of the Wizard's Tower's huge board game selection of open board games. And not a lot of people know this, but you can actually get a discount based on the amount of people you bring out to try out a game on the game that you tried out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really neat little program that can get you a couple of bucks off of a really neat game that you guys played. So I went out and I played some Warmachine, and the people with me got to play some awesome board game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're pretty much done for this evening. Do we have any events coming up, Mr. PG Semi-Automagic?
We've got 3 events in the tank right now. I believe it is the 18th is our OTC tournament qualifier. So if you want to try and get on the Wizards Tower OTC team, just sign up and come out and play that tournament. It should be a lot of fun, and I believe the top 2 players will be getting in there. The next one we have is just a plain old regular steamroller happening at FDB, I believe on the 25th, if that's correct. I think it's the weekend after the OTC qualifier. And then we're into October, where we are going to have a 2-headed Pharaoh event. So basically, you and a buddy each bring, I believe it is 35 points worth of army. And you will square off against another team in a team event. So get ready for double feats, double fun.
Right on.
And it is a Halloween event, so they're a little bit closer to. You'll find out the extra points that you can get for fun Halloween-y things, including dressing up. Yeah,
sweet.
And then I'll just do a shout out to Food Machine in November. Mark it on your calendar. It is a really great way to help out people during the holidays. Basically, you bring money and canned goods, non-perishables, to this event, and then you can use the canned goods to cheat horribly and win the competition.
Oh, God, I'm bringing a grocery cart.
I know several people who have visited Costco's and gotten vast quantities of cans, and spend as much as you can, as much as you want to, because it all goes towards a charity. And if we're lucky, we'll actually have someone from the food bank there to do things like draw prizes and stuff like that. We know also coming up quite quickly, we have the Sword and Brush painting competition that's coming up this Saturday, I believe, in Toronto.
I have to miss it.
Oh,
so if you are a competition level painter or aspire to be,
or you just want to go see some really cool painted
if
models.
you want to see some of the best painted models,
that's where you want to go.
Ever see, check out the Sword and Brush. Hopefully, we'll maybe be able to get someone who's going to Sword and Brush to show up on the podcast next week and talk to us about it.
If we had an in, that would be cool.
That would be really neat.
So we know some people. We know guys that may or may not be.
May or may not dig deep in the pockets and
Yeah. So
Yeah.
after all those events, I do want to pimp out again tonight. Yeah, don't do that. Is that we do have Troll Blood Scrum coming up on the network after us, and they have Flancer on, and they're going to talk about some trolls. And as we spoke about at the beginning, that big old WTC thing coming up, and I'm sure they'll be going over some of those lists.
Sounds awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you for showing up to the worst audio podcast ever. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you next week. Maelstrom, hit that button.
But I want to hit the button.
He's going to hit the button.
All right.
Dice down! Moosemachine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moosemachine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.